Welcome everyone, I am the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. So this is a, well, lack of a better term, a clone of a variety of Castlevania games. It's made by the person who's made Castlevania, and since Konami is not really doing anything with it, they did a Kickstarter for this. They came out with like an 8-bit version of, some say it's a prequel, some say, though I don't know if that really makes any sense, but they had another game, I think it was called Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, and now they have Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is what the original Kickstarter was backing. And yeah, it's essentially, if you're familiar with Castlevania Symphony of Night and those style of Metroidvanias, it is pretty much that. And copies a lot of things from Castlevania, to say the least, which is not a bad thing. In the past I have attempted to record Castlevania Symphony of Night with an emulator and stuff, but it was just buggy with my emulator, so I ended up always scrapping it. So we'll do the next best thing. I'm hoping the audio is okay. I did a few checks. There is a cutscene that I think ignores all my sound settings, so I will try to warn you of that ahead of time. I have beaten this game. I haven't 100%ed it, but I've gotten a lot of things in it. This game has quite a bit of content if you're one of those people that likes to get 100% of everything, like every item, because of just how much crafting and stuff there is. So, we're gonna go ahead and do game start, and let's see if I can do this right. So, data, that's fine, proceed with that name. Okay. So initially the game starts out at normal, and you have to beat each difficulty to unlock the next one. There's also a New Game Plus, which is pretty good as well. You can even take your normal character and New Game Plus them into the hard mode, which generally makes hard not that difficult at all. I have played a little bit of hard mode and New Game Plus just to see what it's about. It seems to add a lot more enemies to the area, so I'm gonna go ahead and try this out and see how it goes. I'm hoping with more enemies means more drops and more opportunities to get shards. I've heard Nightmare can get a bit spongy as far as the bosses are concerned, so I'm probably not going to bother with that one. Alright, I believe it's going to open with a bunch of cutscenes. I don't know how loud it's going to be, so just be aware to adjust your volume if it's as necessary.
The Industrial Revolution ushered in a new era that threatened to transform the values of men. No longer would spirituality be their compass, but not all welcomed the change. In 1783, just as the fires of the Laki eruption had plunged all of Europe into an ashen darkness, a horde of demons spilled from the shadows and fell upon city after English city. It was a message. The Alchemy Guild, fearing the rise of industrialism and abandonment by their wealthy patrons, had done the unthinkable to defend their existence. Through recondite arts, the alchemists had created shard binders, humans transplanted with crystal that attuned them to demonic power. They sacrificed the shard binders, and in doing so threw the gates of the world open to demonkind. Countless innocents died, and though the church succeeded in vanquishing the Hell's End, a steep price had already been paid and collected. As for the shard binders, they were presumed to have all died in the sacrificial rite. However, 2 survived. Jeeble, a boy for whom by some miracle the rite did not prove fatal. And Miriam, a girl who was spared the rite altogether on account of the strange slumber that took her just before it could begin. 10 years had passed, Mankind too soon forgets tragedy. The demons have returned, presaged by a great castle. And on this very hour, Miriam awakens. Upon learning Jebel is the architect of this new, bloodstained ritual, Miriam and the alchemist Johannes set forth for the accursed castle. Their galleon cuts through the water, lancing towards the inevitable.
Johannes, are you certain it was...
It was Jebel's doing, Miriam. No mistake.
It's so hard to believe. I wouldn't even be alive if not for him. He's a good soul.
I know. I know how you feel. But the facts are apparent. And the hell he endured 10 years ago would break the best of souls. Miriam, I want you to know that I'm sorry. What my brothers subjected you to, there's no forgiving it.
It was their transgression, not yours. You always took care of us.
Obviously, not enough.
Well, let it go, Johannes. We need to focus on the task ahead. If Jebel is responsible for the summoning, then I have to stop him.
I ought to do it. He was my best friend.
Sorry, I cut out a little bit there.
But I'm the only one who can. The shard experiments prepared me for combat. Let them amount to something. 10 whole years. What put me in that sleep?
I wish I had the answer. All I know is the spell that stopped time for you was advanced, arcane. But by observing the ebb of the magic's hold on you, I was able to predict exactly when you would wake up.
Oh, I see.
We'll make landfall soon. You should get ready. I had the chest there packed with essential equipment. Now would be a good time to put it on.
Okay, so we play as Miriam. She was in the other game, though I haven't played the other game. She is one of 2 remaining shard binders, which have the ability to take demonic shards and fuse it to themselves for additional powers. So and I guess a trait that all shard binders have is these weird tattoos that are on their body. So you can see some of the tattoos on our legs and chest and all that stuff. As for starting equipment, I start with Ares horns, which adds 1 defense, and then we start with a scarf that also adds 1 defense. Accessories, scarves, and head, pretty much everything except for the body. When you equip it, will actually change your character's appearance. For the body armor, it's usually the same, except with 1 exception, as far as I know. Well, sorry, 2 exceptions, as far as I know. So there's a little bit of fashion souls going on here. Currently, we have no shards, nothing in our inventory. We do have stats very similar to Symphony of Nights. We have attack, defense, strength, con, int, mind, and luck. Strength increases your attack power, essentially. Constitution increases your defense. Intelligence affects your magic damage. And mind affects your magic defense. And then luck affects drop rates and maybe crits. I don't know if it affects crit, but it does affect drop rates. So a lot of times I tend to focus on luck just so I can get more drops. There's a ton of archives. As we go through, we will unlock lots of monsters, and each monster will have drops and their own shards, and we can keep track of all of that. There's also quests in this game, which is a little bit different from Symphony at Night. Though I think I never played the other Metroidvanias that were like on the was it Game Boy Advance or the DS or whatever. But they've taken traits from those games as well. Like the shard, obviously the shards are very similar to the spirits or whatever from one of the other games. Anyway, let's go ahead and so you gotta get the standard attack. If you hold down up, you'll pose. If you continue holding it, she'll do a different pose, like so. Down and a jump is slide. Left bumper is the back step, which I think gives you iframes. And that is pretty much it for right now. So, just like in Castlevania, there are candles. When you break them, they will spew out one of two things. They'll either give you money, which can be anywhere from 1 to 100 gold, depending on what your luck is. And the other is a little flower that restores your magic. As you can see, I have a health bar and a mana bar. Now, the way the candles work is if you are not at max mana, it will give you a flower. If you are at max mana, it will give you money. So if you want to farm money, you need to make sure your magic is high or near high, and just go from there. That being said, I'm just going to do that and grab the money, and then we'll grab the chest. Hit up on the chest. We get a knife and kung fu shoes, and give us the tutorial to equip items. Equipment can be viewed under the equipment menu, blah blah blah. I'm just going to go ahead and go right through this. It's pretty self-explanatory. So we want to take... there are many different weapon types. I believe there are shoes, daggers, swords, great swords, spears, whips, guns, and I think a few miscellaneous, I guess you can call them. I went through the majority of the game using the whip in my personal playthrough. I've also done a little bit of the great sword. Also, I guess at the beginning I actually used the shoes, and I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the shoes. The knife is pretty self-explanatory. You're just gonna stab in front of you, and that's about it. The kung fu shoes, though, have some... This particular weapon has a few traits that I can take advantage of. Also, you might note that besides the weapon stats, it has little icons to represent what elements it supports. So knife is piercing, the kung fu shoes are blunt, and then there's also slashing damage. There's also a bunch of other resists, such as fire, lightning, ice, curse, I think holy, poison, and I don't remember what the other ones were. Anyway, petrification, and there's like one other I can't remember. Anyway, we'll go ahead and do kung fu shoes.
Good. You're prepared. The next order of business is to...
I'll take care of it.
Shard, a crystallized form of demon power. It cannot be handled by an ordinary human being. Conjure Shard. Press Y to trigger a projectile magic. Consumes MP. Cerulean Splash. Launch a bouncing ball of water at enemies.
Was that a shard?
I'd forgotten the way it felt. Like uninvited claws scraping across my bones.
The demon's power was transmuted into that shard, which forcibly bonded to the crystal embedded in your body. The strength you gain from it is undeniable, but eventually, the crystal will devour you.
I thought the procedure you discovered halted the corruption.
It did, but that doesn't guarantee you'll be safe if you start absorbing shards in massive quantities.
I know my body's limits better than anyone. And I'm going to need all the power I can get. If I run into trouble, you can help me. You've done it before. You'll do it again.
Thanks for giving me a choice in the matter. Well, I won't let you down. Not if I can help it. Just promise you won't push yourself.
How did they get inside?
The demons from the castle must have infested the ship.
Then they can help me wake up these muscles of mine. I'll wipe the deck with them.
Alright, give me one moment. Okay, seems like volumes are okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue as is. Alright, so one of the things you can do with the kicks is you can actually angle your kick. So you can either do attack laterally when jumping or downwards. And then one of the things you can do is you can actually do certain button combinations, such as quarter circle forward, and that'll unlock techniques. Each weapon has their own techniques. Many of them tend to have similar abilities. Knives, for example, well, some of them may have the ability to throw them as their quarter circle forward, though for some reason the knife that you start with does not allow you to do it. So it's kind of, not type specific, it is weapon specific. So archives, if we take a look at techniques, we now have the flashing air kick, perform up to 3 spinning kicks by repeating the same command. It costs 15 MP. Also there's a mastery, which I don't know what mastery does, if anything, besides, you know, obviously completion stuff. And yeah. Alright, so there's another combination I know with shoes, but apparently it does not work with this one. So all I know is this one. Wow, it is kind of hard to do. Alright, so yeah, every time I use it, it uses up my MP. It can be used mid-air, and I believe it gives you iframes. It can be changed up to 3 times. And we're on the Galleon Order. And much like a Metrovania, there's already areas we can't get access to. We will not be able to get access to this for a little while. So this is on hard mode. So candles can drop a mana rose when destroyed. A mana rose is a magical rose that slightly replenishes MP. Yeah, this isn't... Hard mode is definitely a lot harder when you don't have, you know, in-game stats. So we already leveled up. There are levels in this game. I can tell you right now, the enemies are definitely a lot harder to kill than in normal mode. It takes a lot more hits. There are sections of the wall you can break. Be aware of that.
This device responds to magic. Maybe I just need to hold my hand up to it.
Okay. Also, one other thing I'll point out is demons. So there's Morte. Standard zombie enemy. Does not provide a shard. If it has a little dash there, it means it does not provide a shard. You can also bring up more information about it. Does not drop anything, nothing special. It tells you what spawn area is and how many we've killed and its general stats. And then we got the Sema, which was what we fought initially. The little shard beside it means we've already collected a shard. And it has 2 drops that we haven't collected yet. And it tells you the drop rate for the shards themselves. I think luck influences shard drop rate as well, so I usually try to get my luck as high as possible so I can collect more. Then we got this guy, who's level 7. So I mentioned before that hard mode adds more enemies. You generally don't run into this guy until a few rooms away from now. But you literally fight him in the first room in hard mode. So yeah, we're gonna have to go a little bit slow because unlike New Game Plus, I don't have any fancy stats to protect me. We're just gonna go this way and... Oh yeah, I haven't even used Turning on the Splash yet. Bam. Alright, level again. Country Dress. So Country Dress gives 1 intelligence, 2 mind, 3 defense. Doesn't change your appearance. And then we can break this and get hit point max up, which not only maxes out your, increases your max HP, it also heals you to full, which is what we desperately needed. Your mana does restore at a slow rate. Get a particular stat that will, well, not a particular stat, but there's HP and mana regen stats that you can increase. Oh, that was kind of weird. So yeah, I'm killing most of these guys for drops, experience, and potential shards. Ow, ooh, 40 damage. Oh wow, they do not mess around. And there's more of them. And I'm gonna die at this rate if I don't actually move. Okay, that's one. Oh. That's what I wanted. Alright. And pretty much the first time you collect a new shard, it will go through that animation. Gale Crawler, create a shockwave that travels across the ground and rips the enemies apart. Oh. Grab that writhing limb. I know there's a chest I missed. I'm right now just doing what I can. We got a tunic, but I've gotten a better already. Okay, so here's the save room. We needed to find this. This is our new game. So there's different types of shards. There are 5 colors. Red is for your Y button. Blue is for your right bumper. Blue is for your right bumper. Directional is, it talked about the opening of that door earlier, where we can extend our hand. This is directional, so if you have this out, you'll do your directional shards. And then there's your passive, and then there's your familiar. Currently we do not have a familiar, or, well, anything really. Potion. So a lot of times when you're fighting, you'll probably see me do a lot of short jumps, because when you land, it will immediately end whatever attack animations you're doing, and that allows you to do more swings. Rusted ring. Alright. Okay, so ring doesn't change anything. I was just seeing if it did. Anyway, this spot here is actually where you're supposed to run into Delahan for the first time. He does have some, he has a shard. He does have an armored, he has a few armor drops as well that are actually kind of neat. The shard itself is pretty good, at least for the maybe brief tutorial you go through here. Eventually get replaced by other things, but it has a wide range and does pretty good damage. So yeah, this guy you can actually stand on. Alright. Directional shard. Aim with the right stick and press RT to activate. Oh, right trigger. Cast towards targets, towards the aim direction, consumes MP. Flame cannon, launch a fireball in the designated direction. Alright, so yeah, if you have this, you use the right trigger, but if you use the right bumper, I believe it just shoots forward. Nope, I'm wrong. Oh, right bumper is for the blue shards, and right trigger is for for these shards. There we go. So yeah, you can use the fire shot to ignite fuses. You do not, I think you only do it like a couple of times. You do it a couple times here in the boat, and then you use it like one other time. So, despite it being kind of an interesting environmental mechanic, it's not one you use very often. probably because you generally don't want to get locked behind shards that are randomly dropped. That one there is 100% drop rate, at least for the first one. Yep. Bats do have a shard, but I'm a little terrified of them because didn't mean to do that. But since this is hard mode and everything hits harder and has more HP, I'm afraid I'm a little concerned on whether or not I can actually kill them in one hit. Alright, this is a Bone Morte. They will throw bones. They do have a shard as well. It's the throw bone shard. Oh wow. Luckily some of these enemies do flinch. Galleon map. So I think some maps generally reveal the entire area, and so you can see where you've explored and not. I don't think there are that many map drops in this game. I think this is the only one. Oh boy. Definitely don't mess around, do they? Yeah, just do this. Scrap. Take advantage of the mechanics we have. Got some elm, which is crafting materials. Just hoping I can get to a safe point soon. SP rounds, those are for the gun. Which, I think I skipped over, which I'll backtrack. So the blue chests are a little bit interesting, in the fact that they will actually refresh every time you leave an entire map area. So leaving this room and coming back will not refresh the chest. But if you use a save point or something like that, that will refresh it. You can use that to farm certain materials that can only be found in chest. Stone Mask. So Stone Mask is another accessory. This one will show up. And not the prettiest thing. It gives you a little bit of resistances, gives you defense, luck, con, and mind. Stone Mask once used by a tribal chief during ritual sacrifices. Good times. Alright, we also got a short sword. This is our first standard sword weapon. I'm not going to equip it. I'm going to stick to kicks for now. Flashing air kick, perform up to, yeah, so the way you can learn about new techniques and things like that is to look up books that will tell you them. Even if you don't look up the book, if you know the combination and you know what weapon goes with it, you can do it immediately. Oh good, I'm glad there's a save point here. Couldn't remember if there was one. I know there's one at the end before the boss, but know that there's going to be one around here. So yeah, hard mode's going to be a bit rough, just simply because everything hits harder and takes a lot more hits to kill. One of the things I did in normal mode was I just stacked a whole bunch of luck, which certain weapons, certain slots didn't actually have very many items that actually give luck. And this is a tattered scarf, a scarf made of ragged cloth, just gives you additional mind to equip. And you can see it changes our, we're now wearing a different little cape here. But yeah, I used to equip nothing but luck equipment, which probably until the end-tier stuff is actually weaker than what you're supposed to be equipped with. So a lot of times I was taking a lot more damage than I was supposed to. Oh, That's not what I wanted. Bone toss. So if I... Whee! Increase coverage, and if you do flame cannon... So one thing to note about shards is they have ranks and grades. Ranks increase the number of projectiles. Well, it depends on the shard. Like for example, for the bouncing water, it'll just make it linger for in the stage longer for every additional rank. The grade just increases its effectiveness as far like damage or healing or whatever. To increase the rank, I'm probably gonna get this backwards, but rank you have to do crafting, and I think grade increases by getting multiples of the same shard. I'll know eventually when I actually get to do it. But until then... There we go. Chest up there we can't get for a little while. Alright. Hold floating. Oh! Well, that was smart of me. Yeah, this thing's annoying to deal with, so you're better off just using magic. There we go. Don't remember exactly where all the breakable walls are, so I'm just gonna kick the walls as I go along. Magic definitely ends up being kind of the MVP in this game. The level up. There we go. Oh, right, jumped right into that. So we got another one. Now let's take a look. Okay, grade is affected by multiple shards, rank is increased by through alchemy. Good to know. Safe ring. So the safe ring, ring that sacrifices attack power to increase defense. It's minus 10 attack but plus 15 defense. So good if you're just trying to run through stuff. And the claymore is a great sword. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Yep. That was I was not expect. Well, I wasn't expecting it to just run through my attack. Unfortunately, when you die, you just come back to the save point, so I'm gonna have to go all the way through that again. You're not supposed to encounter a giant rat until after the first boss, but in this, you run into it just about immediately. Also, the bad news is all the shard drops I just got have been taken away from me, so that kind of sucks. That's alright. I just need to, you know, just take advantage of the fact that I have magic and use what I got. Gotta use your sub weapons and all that. Oh, close one. Oh, come on. These things can, I believe they can curse you. They just run off the screen. That's weird. Usually they come back. Yeah, they're annoying to deal with, to say the least. I do want to at least kill one. So let's try not to get hit this time. I would use the kick combo a little bit more often, but problem is it uses up precious MP, which I need. Oh, ethers. So ethers are healing item. They restore MP. They don't restore a lot though. They'll hit. Crit with magic. That. I might actually have trouble with the boss fight in this game. It's actually been a while since I last played this game. I played it. I pretty much binge played it for like when it came out. I didn't back the Kickstarter, so I had to buy it normally. I don't have any of the extra stuff like the DLC or whatever. And I played it for like 2 weeks straight and beat it, and kind of went for and I worked on other stuff. There's supposed to be a rat here. There we go. Rat tail. No drop from him yet. And this will open up a shortcut. Back to here. Not sure why I bothered breaking that since there's a save point here. Yeah, hard mode, it's going to be slow going. Especially if I'm going to be trying to remember how I played. Alright. Hairband. Defense and Intelligence, a simple hairband that keeps hair away from the wearer's eyes. Equip it. We no longer have the horn, so we now have the hairband. Break of the wall here. Usually red chests tend to just have money. They're one use. This increases your max MP. And that is it. Gun can be shot by equipping a quick consumable bullet. When you run out of the type of bullet that it was equipped, the bullet will be replaced with a much weaker infinite bullet. So that's guns. So if you equip a gun, you have the infinite rounds here, but then you can switch the SP rounds, which you only have a limited amount of. And then you can only carry so many bullets as of each type, but there are items that will increase your max bullet capacity. So I might use it just so I can get some extra damage out. I might use it on the boss or something. The shot rate of the gun is pretty slow though. Some weapons though, you can do things like fan the hammer. Make it a little bit faster, but it uses up MP. Alright, so I'm going to save one more time just so I don't have to redo all that. Because everything hits for at least 40, so kind of need to keep myself safe. I mean, I've already died once, so much for no death run. And we're now doing 22 per shot now. Go us. We'll be doing more if we still had the storyline splash. Okay, so it's not a save point. It's you have to leave this entire area and come back to it to get these chests back. Good to know. I apologize if I make any mistakes. It's been a little, like I mentioned before, it has been a while. So this room's supposed to have no enemies, but in hard mode they add in essentially the equivalent of the Medusa heads. Oh boy. If they hit you, you will be petrified. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This room is actually annoying. Especially when you don't have accelerator. You can one-shot them. And this is the whip. The whip is... I like it. I mean, it's cool and all, but it actually has some issues. Its hitbox is a little weird. Alright, so I'm going to try something here. So this part sways a little bit, but you can get to it. Can't reach you. Oh boy, that's smart of me. Let's get out of the way of that. Alright. So, you have to wait until you get double jump. By the way, there's double jump in this game. There we go. But if you use the kick combo, you can get to this immediately. And then you can equip it. Oh, sorry, it's a hat. Pirate hat. 3 defense, 1 strength, 2 luck. Gives a little bit of ice resistance and blunt resistance. And we'll probably have this hat for a little while because it's a luck-based hat. Hat worn by pirates. Anyway, so we got that. Got you. Oh boy. So usually there's no enemies down here. Jeez. Did I not get the chest up here? I did not. There's a potion in it. Giant Rat, of course, has a shard. Some of them are just literally just summons for themselves. Giant Rat being one of them. Alright, so we'll go ahead and save. And I'm gonna go ahead and call this a video. When we come back, we'll fight the boss. I'm the Depressed Hero, and this was Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. See you guys next time.